Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope you all are doing well. Let's take a look and see what's going on with Bitcoin. So, for our daily candle, we are still staying above 63,940. It is looking beautiful, just kind of ranging out within this. Basically, it's about a $500-600 range here. Nothing major. Honestly, guys, like at this point, you know, I don't know when our high is going to be of the week. We could have already hit it today. Um, Around, let's see, this would be around 64,556. That could potentially be our high for the week. That being said, I don't see us getting a full-blown retracement. For this week, I kind of see us still consolidating. It could be a very slow month for August, potentially. Um, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to be a consolidation month where we're just kind of range bound within a tighter range, or we're going to be expansive where we're taking out both sides. Okay. That's what I see August doing. So, it's really going to depend on where we end up this week is going to be very important. Okay. Obviously, when it comes to your weekly time frame, if we can close this tweezer bottom, we can get even the follow through for the following week. We can get the second week to be bullish as well. So as long as we can get this tweezer bottom on the weekly right here, um, we can basically say that we're going to bounce off the 200 MA and we're going to stay bullish for right now. Now, if this changes and we lose that 200 MA, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, that's not a great sign, and we could definitely start visiting down into this area below, right? Actually, all the way down here. So it's really going to depend on how this week closes, what I'm going to potentially be expecting for next week. Like I said, guys, the first beginning of August, we could actually be pumping and make our high. And then the tail end of it, like the third and the fourth week, we could flip and then make a low, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be bullish for the entire month. What I'm saying is the first couple of weeks we could be bullish and then flip the last couple of weeks or the last week even. Taking a look at your monthly, it is basically showing us so on the monthly chart that since you have a tweezer bottom right here, there's a decent chance that you are going to close August bullish. Now, whether or not we're going to get a lot of expansion, that's a bigger question. Like I said, this could be more so of a compression candle. Okay, so we could get some sort of a compression candle for August, something like this. I don't know if we're going to range this month, but it could be something like this. Okay. So that being said, that's kind of what I'm expecting for August for right now. Taking a look at the daily time frame, for right now, you definitely want to see us reclaim the 21 MA. We're kind of using it as resistance right now. Nothing major though, because we're not really truly getting rejected off of it. It's more so consolidating right below it. So in my opinion, that's still a very bullish sign. I don't know when we're going to get another retracement, by the way. I don't know if we're just going to slowly consolidate, get some mini retracements and just keep on moving up. We had a decent retracement this morning. You guys could have potentially entered on. I believe it was around 63,842. So that could have provided a potential entry if you guys are bullish for right now. 12 hour, you're keeping that 21 MA. You're basically for the most part at the very most, I want to basically see our Stokes reset, right? So, essentially because our stochastics are so high, what I'm expecting is when this comes back down, I don't necessarily know if we're going to really truly drop. We could even again test the top of this order block or, even further down a little bit, but um essentially, if we are going to stay in a bullish environment, you do not want to lose the 10-hour or the 8-hour 200 MA. Okay, you're getting that cross there. You could possibly, like I said, be making the high, but I still don't want us losing this 200 MA right here. I want to see us consolidate, reset the stochastics, and basically move from there. Now, the interesting part is on the 10-hour, at least for right now, if we can close it like this is kind of your, bullish flaggish pattern type of environment right here, and this could continue its move up, right? You've got something like this going on where you could just keep going up. It could reverse to the downside, but again, we do have more liquidity right above us that we're right next to, so it could very easily keep on not moving, moving the price action up, basically. Um, let's take a look at the 6-hour. So the 6-hour, we're keeping that 200 MA, looking great so far. We're keeping the 50 even. So nothing, really blatantly, obvious there as far as, bearish behavior or bullish behavior. The only thing I will say is that you did wick up this morning and take out this kind of double top right here. I don't know if it looks more like a double top in other environments, other time frames, but you can see that, you're kind of showing some strong resistance around 64.5-ish area, which is to be expected for right now. I believe that was one of the numbers that we were calling out, 64.5 or 64.7, something around there. But for the time being, what I like is that we are keeping the 63.946, and we're basically, or sorry, it's 63.940, and we're basically consolidating and making some sort of bullish flaggish pattern here. So again, it's giving, retail the impression that we have hit a strong resistance point and to short it. Now that's the exact opposite thing I'm looking to do, right? Because for me, I'm either waiting for a discount. I'm in a small long right now and I'm going to keep it going. But I'm going to either be waiting for a discount, to get in on another potential long on a meso time frame because mine is more of a macro time frame long, but I'm going to be looking more so to getting in on a meso time frame long, or potentially, depending on how this flags out. If this does flag out in a bullish fashion, I might even take it if it revisits 63.940 again. I had a chance this morning, didn't really take it unfortunately, but I'm looking more so for a discount to get in, right? But I'm not looking for bearish behavior just yet. Now, if we were to have taken out 65.186 already or 65.740 and we're doing this type of behavior, there's a potential that that would have been the top. But because, we're not there quite yet, and we haven't really liquidated any sort of shorts for the most part, some major shorts, I'm still bullish on this, and especially because we're not showing any signs of wanting to trend down just yet. This is all bullish behavior, in my opinion. Taking a look at your 2 hour, so you're going to want to look for the 2 hour to consolidate here and bring the 21 into price action even more and get that golden cross above the 200 MA. So I'm going to be watching that very closely to see how that happens, how that goes down. Your 1 hour, you got this nice, beautiful wick down, touching that 50, but finding a lot of sensitivity. So basically wiping out, somewhat of a, I don't know if this is a 786, but we can take a look and check it here. So not quite a 786, even if you pull from the bodies, it is, for the bodies down below and then up to the wick high. Sometimes you can do that. I personally I prefer to pull from the actual wicks themselves. But again, guys, when it comes to playing the 786 model, it is never a bad idea to front run it, even to the 0.75 or the 706, right? So a lot of times when I am playing this model, I'll front run it and still be protected down below these wicks, well below these wicks, because, I'm expecting for sensitivity to happen, right? So this could definitely provide for a very bullish move today. This did hit a 786 level, taking out some of the local long liquidity. So, this could potentially skyrocket into 65.186 and even higher to 65.740 if it wanted to. And then that, to me, if we were to get up there, that could basically be our high for the week, for Wednesday. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to just drop straight back down, but what it does mean is that we're probably going to then, basically slowly trend, right? So that means maybe getting some sort of retracement back into the high 64-ish range if we were to get up here, right? Low 65, high 64-ish range, and then keep trending up. So what I'm talking about is you'd be basically looking for something like this. You get that move up, right? Hitting around this level, maybe finding some resistance, trending back down, making another 786, and then trending back up again, come Friday. Well, not even Friday. This has to be the next week. So let's go into the bigger time frame here. Let's see. So you'd be looking at about, basically having to go straight up here, making our high, and then, trending up here, low, and then, maybe coming back up here, starting to take out more liquidity. That would be your bullish move. Trending up right away, slowly making that trend down, to basically trend back up again, and then blasting off next week as well. So that's kind of what I'm expecting for right now. That's kind of my primary expectation is we're going to keep trending up until we don't, especially because we have that 8 hour and 10 hour, close above those 200 MA. And it's basically consolidating very nicely. We're getting that golden cross on the 10-hour as well. So I am expecting a continuation upward for right now until further notice. Especially, getting rejected off of the 12-hour 200 MA around 68,000 is going to be crucial. This is probably, by the time we get up here, it could even be down into the 65, 67.5-ish range. So look for a potential rejection off of the 12-hour 200 MA. And at that point, that could be a potential for you to short. Not that it's going to necessarily happen, or we're going to get a strong reaction off of this, but that would be an area where I would be potentially looking to short is a rejection off of the 12-hour 200 MA. Okay. Diving into your 15-minute, you're just basically going sideways, kind of acting like a weekend almost, but with a little bit more range. With a given range, we're about within a $700 range, so definitely a lot more volatility than what we see on the weekend. But still, you're just going sideways right now, making a head and shoulders. And usually, when it does stuff like this, it basically is going to rip to the upside because it wants to trick traders into trading the head and shoulders, right? So, I'm not seeing anything bearish really, guys. I mean, I can definitely tell you that there's always going to be a bearish scenario, but again, like I said, if as long as we don't lose weekly open at 63,546, we have to assume that we're going to be trending up bullishly for right now. That being said, guys, let's go ahead and take a real quick look at liquidity, see what's going on there. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these up here. Taking a look at liquidity, let's go ahead and drop into our 4-hour. All right, so our 4-hour, we're starting to slowly get right below that pool of liquidity. I'm going to tell you guys, once we start diving into there, it can definitely provide for an easy move up, right? So, it's going to all depend on when we get here, but once we do get into this pool of liquidity, it can definitely provide for us to get a very easy move to the upside, even towards at least 65, 700-ish area, which would be our second target to the upside. So I'm going to, at the very least, I'm targeting 65.7. That's going to be my initial target. If we can consolidate nicely, get above there, then that's when I'll be talking about 66,000, and then to 67,500. So basically, wherever there are double tops, like this is a double top, this is a double top, you got their double top up here. Those are the different areas that I'm basically targeting for right now. Okay. Taking a look at your 1-hour. All right, so your 1-hour getting rejected off of the major pool of liquidity there. The only negative that we have right now is we do have this gigantic pool to the downside that is building up. So possibly, I wouldn't necessarily say this week, but we could possibly see this taken out next week. The only thing that could potentially bring us down here I would have to say be Friday. I think that's when our next major event is. Let's see, so Wednesday, we had ISM, we had non-farm employment change. Thursday, we have unemployment claims. But really, it's going to be Friday. So Friday could potentially either it's going to, make price skyrocket into this liquidity up here, or it's going to reverse price and we're going to start eating out this liquidity down to the bottom here. So that's basically what I am looking at for right now. Honestly, if we can consolidate right here and slowly get that move up, I would be basically expecting this area next. So again, tying into 65.7, 65.8, that's kind of going to be a key point for right now. That's my first kind of major target to the upside. So that's my first area, and then if we can consolidate there, we can move up into 67.5. You can see how this can kind of just basically kind of trigger upward and basically keep moving upward. Keep consolidating, keep its move upward, keep trending upward, right? So taking a look at our order book, really we mainly have just all of our orders to the upside. Very bullish behavior, right? A lot of bots having orders up here, a lot of whales having orders up here. So whether or not these are buy orders to continue or move upward, or they're sell orders, that's going to have to be kind of one of those wait and see moments. But there's definitely a potential that these could be buy orders, and we could just keep expanding upward for right now. Okay. Now that being said, this could be acting as support to the downside. We do have a couple of orders down here, basically within $125 range. Usually when you get something that close, it is acting as support. So just know that there's a potential there is some support around 63,500 for right now at least. Okay. Now, these can get removed at any time. We know that based off of what we've seen in the actual order book. But for right now, this basically is telling me that this is support down here. Taking a look at the 15-minute, you still have the same thing as the 1 hour. Basically, you could basically railroad either side. I'm more so expecting consolidation still in an uptrend, mainly because of the 8 hour and the 10 hour. But just be, aware that at any given time, especially after we take out some of this liquidity up here, that it could technically reverse, start trending down for a bit before it trends back up. Okay. That being said, guys, let's take a look at our simple map and see kind of where price action is for right now, what to expect for the day, what levels to expect, kind of get ourself grounded here. So when it comes to the simple map, to the upside, you're going to see some resistance around 64,590. If you're able to get above there, your next stop would be around 64,710. And then you can basically, at that point, fall through all the way to about 65,400 before you start encountering some more resistance. So again, 64,590, 64,710, and then a follow through to 65,400. Okay. Now to the downside, if you do start that move down, I would be looking for about 63,750 to 63,780 as a potential support zone. If you cannot keep that, you'd be looking at about 63,300 and then about 63,180. Now, the unfortunate thing is if you lose 63,180, you're basically going to fall through here all the way to about 62,220. So it's going to be very important for us to that, at the very least, keep 63,000, 63,180. And then, like I said, if we can't keep that to the downside, if we got that move, you'd basically be looking at about $1,000 drop there. All right, and then taking a look at our swing time frames, our larger time frames, kind of the same situation, right? First target to the upside 64,590, 64,710. You get that follow through down to about 65,400, then to 65,490, and then you can basically kind of follow through from there. To the downside, again, 63,750 to 63,780, getting the follow through to about 63,180. You lose that though, you'll go all the way to 62,220 more than likely. All right, guys, that is what I have for you for today. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe trading day. As usual, if you ever want to use Trading Different and its tool set, feel free to use my code Sean. You'll get 10% off of your order. You'll be able to easily identify where liquidity is at in the market, as well as being able to more so identify a trend in a much easier fashion. So tradingdifferent.com/code/Sean to claim your 10% off discount of this amazing tool suite. All right, guys, that is what I have for you for today. I will be back later on tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all later. Take care.